Yo, it's the kid, 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 it's the kid here, back in the flesh here for another beautiful football dugout, man. And guys, look, man, it is what it is, man. If Liverpool had won, devil would be devil. But you lost, and a segment has to be dedicated to Papa Wenger. Whether it's on Nix's short list or not, I'm gonna put it in there because we need to have a segment for Papa Wenger and give him appreciation. Because I said, and you guys disagree, that if Liverpool went unbeaten, Wenger would become irrelevant. Papa Wenger went to the witch doctor, the right one, because there are wrong ones out there, and he gave them the right payments. Guys, Nix, Devil, what's up? How was the weekend? How you guys doing?
Good, happy. It started off terribly, but ended up all right. Can't complain. The hunt for top four is on. Results went our way this weekend. We can make up ground in our next Premier League game. So we'll see.
All right, Nix, what are you, bro?
I'm less confident that Arsenal can make up the ground because
how come?
It's just like everyone outside the top four. We're all a bit inconsistent. If the league finished as it is now, I wouldn't be surprised. That's how inconsistent everyone is. But me, I got a bit of a cold. I think I come down with a bit.
Oh, diddums, man. Sorry, bro.
Corona. So
wash your hands.
Let's step away from your screen. You don't want to catch anything through the live broadcast.
Yeah,
bro. All right, guys. Look, man, we have definitely some very interesting topics for today, man. We're definitely going to talk about El Clasico, review that, look at what went down in El Clasico. We have to obviously review their unbeaten run going down, review the Champions League, review Arsenal getting thrown out of the Europa League, review how United pay Sheffield to get dudes like Lask and so forth. So we'll definitely be reviewing all those beautiful things. And then maybe if there's time, and also we'll be looking at the Bundesliga protests. That's some weird ass stuff, man. 30 minutes of passing amongst yourselves. That's wild. And if we have time, we'll take your live chat. So look, man, let's get straight down to it, man. The biggest thing of the week, because I think let's leave the Champions until afterwards, man. But let's deal with this right now. Let's deal with this right now. So I've got to come first to Devil with this. First off, and this is, you have to be genuine right now. Were you surprised that Liverpool got beat by Watford? And also, so first of all, were you surprised that Liverpool got beat by Watford? Or because Henderson and Gomez were missing, did you think that a loss was bound to come against a Watford without those two missing, even though they were playing Watford?
I was surprised they lost to Watford. I mean, Watford have done decent under Nigel Pearson. They've done well since he's been in, but I was surprised. Maybe I shouldn't have been, because they weren't great against West Ham. Everyone's saying Henderson Player of the Year, and since he's been injured, they've struggled. So perhaps these Liverpool fans have been right all along. Maybe we've been wrong to laugh and say Henderson's rubbish. Maybe he is integral to the way they play. But who knows? Either way.
Player of the Year?
Hell no. No, don't be stupid. But he's very important. He's very important to the way Liverpool play. If you're going Player of the Year, it's De Bruyne all day, every day. But we had that discussion last week. So for me, Liverpool losing this game to Watford is a culmination of poor performances, which they've got away with. Because they've got away with a lot of poor performances this season. They have. This week, it didn't happen. It didn't work. Their luck ran out. And I think now we get to see what happens in the next game. How do they react to this loss? Is it because they know they've won the league and they're getting a bit sluggish? Or is this generally just a poor turn in form? Because every team goes through a dip in form. Liverpool have been on top gear for 2 seasons. It's not just this year, last year as well. They've been, after a while, you've seen what happened to Man City. Their form's dipped. Sooner or later, it's going to happen to Liverpool. Is this that, or is it just as a minor blip? Will they get Gomez back? Will they get Henderson back? And you know what's quite funny as well? You never walk alone unless you're Dejan Lovren. When you're Dejan Lovren, you walk by yourself every week because they gun him every week. What happened to you? Your mantra can't be never walk alone. And then as soon as a player makes a mistake, you hang him out to dry. That don't make no sense.
See, this is what I I don't get, man. It's like, was Lovren really to blame for all three Gs? Because one of those Gs that I saw was Van Dijk misjudged the pass. He
That
misjudged
doesn't suit the
pass.
agenda. That doesn't suit the agenda.
Well, listen, it's funny, isn't it?
That's unfair, man. That's unfair. Because he is a brick. He is a brick, but bro, let him be fairness of his brickness when he becomes a brick. Because, bro, but to be fair, the devil, I did hear a lot of people say that Van Dijk, man, had one of his worst games. You know, so
were they Liverpool fans who said that?
some were Liverpool fans.
Okay.
Some, not all, but some were.
Okay.
Liverpool remind me of the Italian mafia. You know, when everything's good, we're family, but you go against family, and they will literally put you to sleep with the fishes. Dejan Lovren's one. Loris Karius. That one was disgusting. Champions League fight. Man just made a mistake.
No. Nix, no. Sorry. There are mistakes.
You left
And
him
there's
on
like,
the
you know what?
floor,
You were
crying
paid to do
by
that.
himself.
What?
They left him on the floor crying by himself.
Yes, good. Stay
No,
there.
you know,
Drown in your tears. What the heck?
I thought you never
No.
walk alone.
Nix, there's no excuse. That was unacceptable. Stay there by yourself.
Fine, do that, but don't chant you never walk alone. Like you can't have your cake and eat it. And Alberto Moreno, that's another one. Listen, when they're ready, they throw their players under the bus, just like any other fans. So yeah, leave you never walk alone to Borussia Dortmund. Because don't they chant that as well?
Yeah, they sing it before the game, I think.
Yeah, and I think
Celtic
as well.
Celtic,
leave it to them, innit? Actually, don't. No, maybe not Celtic, because they were sending all like bullets in the post of some of their managers. Yeah, leave it to Dortmund.
So, all right. So, I want to touch on Arsenal then, before we look at the other things then. Because this is what I said. Like, let me bring it up. Let me bring this up. So hopefully you guys can see this. So this was the league table. What do you notice about this league table?
Zero.
The zero.
Do you notice anything deeper, specifically for Chelsea, United, and Liverpool?
The losses.
There we go. Now, when I look at those losses, and also, Nix, I need to ask you something specifically with those losses, because another United fan couldn't answer me. When you look at those losses, that shows you how competitive it was. Now, you could look and say, well, that was just a season where all the teams were trash, but it is still Chelsea. It is still Man United. It is still Liverpool. Well, specifically United and Chelsea were still strong in 03, 04. So the virtue of the fact that Chelsea got 7 losses and 9 losses showed you that anybody could get anybody. So even more so, you should even give much more credit for Arsenal of getting the 0 losses. Yes, 12 draws. I see that. But when I look at those losses that Chelsea, United, and Liverpool got, that shows me that Arsenal really had to go that extra mile, and it is even much more of a greater achievement that they managed to go through this season with their other rivals losing so many times that they didn't able to take one single loss. So let me ask you this then, and I want to ask Nick another thing. Let me come to Devo first with this. Try and be fair here, Devo. Try and be fair here.
I'm always fair.
Okay.
I'm always fair.
How much credit should we give Wenger's achievements of being the only team in Premier League history to go invincible? I believe Juve did it twice. It's never happened in La Liga. It has never happened in Bundesliga.
It's happened in La Liga, no?
Happened twice in La Liga.
Yeah.
Before we were born.
Yeah, long time ago. It's only happened.
Okay, look at us and look.
It's also happened.
It only counts when we were born, man.
It also happened once in England. Preston did it.
Yeah.
But back then, there was only 22 games in the league. So it's
but
different
obviously not
ballgame,
before, like Premier League era, Premier League era. So, how much credit should we give to this? Or, as people have said, it's more so about winning trophies. That's achievement isn't that great, because what is greater is you winning Champions League trophies and so forth.
You know what? Firstly, let me just say the best thing for Wenger about this is that he predicted it the season before.
Oh yeah,
he said, I think we can go the whole season undefeated, and people laughed at him.
He actually had the shirts. I think there was like a shirt that he actually had on the day that they did it.
And the next season, he went and did it. So for me, you can't turn around and say it's luck. Another thing, those 12 draws, a lot of them were once we'd won the league. We'd won the league, we had it wrapped up, and then I think we drew 4 games. So it's not like, it's obviously, once you've won the league, things are going to dip. You see it now with Liverpool. They've won the league, form's dipping. Their mind's not really on it. So for them to have the mentality of we are not going to lose a game no matter what happens, and a lot of those games we should have lost. I remember Portsmouth away. We should have lost that game. Perez did a little dive. We kept our run going. It is a massive Man United. No, that was
that was a season.
No, what? Which one?
Van
1-0. Oh yeah, Van Nistelrooy. Yeah.
Oh, was that the season?
Yeah, that was the season. Yeah, last minute penalty and he hit the bar.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
with Keon doing the...
Yeah. There's going to be an element of luck. In any run, there's going to be an element of luck. You have to have that. All champions that get lucky at some point. But to have the mentality to go 38 games without a loss, if it was easy, everyone would have done it. If it was easy, other teams would have done it. You can't sit there and say going 38 games undefeated is easy, but you didn't win the Champions League. It's Champions League is knockout football at the end of the day. It's knockout football. Anyone could get anyone on any given day. To be consistent over 38 games is more of an achievement in that regard. I'm not saying that winning Champions League is not an achievement, because obviously it is. But if you can go 38 games, and overall, because people forget, it was 49 games overall.
Yeah.
Until Rooney screwed us. Because that game had me so vexed. So vexed. Again, there was no VAR back then. Do you know what I mean? No. But to be fair, hold on, we're about to go 1-0 down. No, okay. It's a massive achievement. No one can take away from what Wenger done. I think people want to do so because it's Liverpool and the media darlings. Because when Man City were going mad and on undefeated streak, well, no one saying that it was a crap achievement then. Back then, it was, when Man City were close to doing it or looked like they could do it, it was a massive achievement. It's something to achieve. Now, Liverpool got close. It's a massive achievement. They're better than the Invincibles. They're this. They're blah, blah, blah. They lose a game. Oh, being invincible is not all that. So why were you comparing us? Why are you comparing us? If it's not all that, why are you comparing us? Compared to something else. It doesn't make sense. They'd like to twist things in their favor, and it just doesn't work. It looks silly. It's a massive achievement. Wenger will go down in history for it, and it will happen again. Someone will do it one day, I imagine, but I don't think it will happen anytime soon.
Nix.
Yeah, I can't disagree with anything Deborah just said. I'm not an Arsenal fan. I'm sure everyone knows that, but you have to respect it. You have to respect it. And the first thing that naysayers would say is, but they drew 12 games. Well, I'll tell you what, Liverpool would have taken a draw against Watford. Liverpool would have taken a draw against Watford. So you can say they drew 12 games, but they lost 0. They were unbeatable. Like, winning X amount of games, cool. It means that you're able to beat these teams. I mean, in the season that Man City got 100 points, Man United beat every team in the Premier League. We beat all 19 teams at some point in the season. But we also lost to a number of those teams. Arsenal, at no point in that season, were able to be beaten. By hook or by crook, they were unable to be beaten. No one else can say that in the Premier League era. No one worth their salt can even say that. I mean, Preston need to relax because I was in 1888 or whatever it was.
Please.
Oh, and the fact is, there's questions that will come up. Would Arsenal trade in an Invincible for Champions League, etc., etc. Well, the fact that we just named it happening twice in Syria, once in the Premier League, and hasn't happened in La Liga in the Premier League era since 1992. Whereas you can list off and reel the number of different teams that have won the Champions League. You can't do that with the unbeaten, which shows how much of an achievement it was. Because one season you will get AC Milan winning the Champions League, and the next season you get Porto. Then you get Liverpool, who don't even finish in their top 4, and you get Chelsea, who finished 6th in 2012 and win the Champions League. So I'm not saying it's an easy achievement. Of course it's not. Champions League is the biggest tournament in club football. But many teams have won it. And many teams will win it in our lifetime. I can't see the unbeaten run happening in our lifetime again. So you have to give respect to Wenger and Arsenal for that. Is it the greatest achievement in club football? No. I personally put our treble win in one season above that, because for me, trophies come before anything else. Equally, when you talk about unbeaten, how many teams have won the league, their major domestic treble, so cup, and the Champions League in the same season? you can again count on one hand, maybe two.
I thought 5 or 6.
Yeah. So when you have to put those in certain brackets, getting 100 points. I know many teams got 100 points across different leagues. Barcelona and Real Madrid have done it a number of times, season after season. Winning 30 plus games, that's happened a number of times in the Premier League era. But going unbeaten, that's a once in a lifetime. So yeah, you gotta respect Arsene Wenger and that team.
No.
Shout out Wenger, man.
Also have a we coming, and there's someone coming in 79 point treble is trash. Well, let me tell you something.
Wait. Did you guys really get 79 points?
79 points. We won on the last.
Is that it?
Yeah, but do you know how competitive that league was?
Well, listen. We got 79 points. Cool, that's fine. Arsenal got 78. In the same season, we lost 4 games in all competitions. We didn't lose in the Champions League once. We played Bayern Munich 3 times. We played Barcelona twice. We played Juve twice over 2 legs. Inter Milan over 2 legs, and we didn't lose a game in the Champions League. Brøndby were the other team in the group. We won the FA Cup. Of course, there was draws in some went to replay, and we lost. It must have been 4 games in the Premier League. Liverpool have lost 4 in this season already, and we're just entering March. They're gonna lose more games this season than Man United lost in the treble winning season. So as Roy Keane said, when you turn over your Premier League medal, it don't say how many points you had. So you can throw 79 points, you can throw 179 points. It's one Premier League title. The only difference with Arsenal is there's this gold in it. So 79 points, I don't give a damn. We got 3 trophies in the one season.
Yeah.
All right. So let's just maybe let's do it like this. Biggest takeaway from the weekend. I mean, you had the whole VAR thing with Everton and United, where Ancelotti literally looked like a guy out of Godfather 2 or Donnie Brasco, how he went up to the referee and just got sense off. And of course, you have Uncle Mourinho getting Wolverhampton, and that whole situation. I don't know what's happening. The less said about Francis and Chelsea, the better, because I don't know what can be said there. So, Nix, biggest takeaway from the weekend, which game or which incident sort of struck you the most, so we can maybe take that as a nice jump off.
You know what? It was all going so well. It was all going so well all weekend until the VAR Sigurdsson Man United issue. For me, at that point, and I'm not saying it was the wrong decision, because for me, it was the right decision. I understand certain arguments, but for me, it was the right decision, bottom line. But up to that point, I don't think there was any issue with VAR. I didn't hear one complaint about VAR. And I was like, damn, we're going to get through a whole weekend and there's no one incident. That was literally my biggest take. But as it was, an incident happened, so I have to scratch that. Tottenham. I don't know how you can be 2-1 up at home in a race for Champions League against a team who are also in that race, so a rival for that position.
A very good team.
They are.
They're a very good team.
But they are still who they are and where they are. They haven't touched top 4 this season. They didn't touch top 4 last season, i.e. get into the positions. And they're only recently, 2 years from the championship. You're at home winning. And you
without 2 strikers.
You somehow conspired to lose the game. And we spoke about it a couple of weeks ago. The one thing Mourinho is renowned for is defense. But they can't defend to save their life.
He dropped Vertonghen and your boy.
It doesn't matter who he puts in. They're defensively frail.
Thinking, if it's one thing Mourinho can get them to do is to defend. If they draw every game 0-0 between now and the end of the season, you say, well, that's Mourinho. Yeah, that's what he's about. He'll get a trophy in the end. He needs some better strikers. But you don't lose Kane and Son, and that's the reason why you lose 3-2 at home after being 2-1 up. So for me, I think that game or that half, the second half, said to me Spurs ain't getting top 4. I was slightly convinced at one point, just after Christmas going to the New Year. I thought, you know what, if anyone's going to catch Chelsea, it's going to be Spurs with the Mourinho factor. But with the injuries that they got and just the way that they're defending, I think for me, I don't give them a chance. Obviously, mathematically, yes, but for me,
have you seen how Chelsea have?
You know what?
For me, United, Chelsea and Wolves.
You know what? I'm just going to say two things. I'm going to make it short and sweet. I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. Mourinho is finished at the highest level. He is finished. The second thing I'd like to say is we will finish above Tottenham. I'm saying that with my chest. We will finish above Tottenham.
It's not
how much money would you put down on that? If you were a betting man, how much money would you put down that Arsenal would finish above Tottenham this season?
15 kobo.
That's a lot. That's nothing, bro. That's nothing. No. For me, look. I'll throw it in before we go into the main topic, man. He's a rookie. He is a rookie. It's very problematic when your left back is your main goal scorer. That's problematic, And as I look at this team, and I look you look at body language, and I just look at Lampard and Jody Morris on the bench. And I'm like, I'm not sure these guys know what they're doing. It just doesn't seem like if they know what they're doing. It just seems as if like whenever Chelsea gets pegged back or they go a goal, and I'm like, okay, what's the reaction? What's the change? It just seems like they're just lost at sea. And look, he only had what's like a season for Derby County and is now coming into a Chelsea job. And I always said this, that Rafa Benitez, if he was available, bring him in. You need a manager, and you need someone who is experienced. And for me, this is what's like a message to Chelsea fans. Who gives a damn what you did while you were on the pitch? Maradona is one of the greatest of all time. He was a garbage coach. Van Basten, a great in his own right, wasn't, had his ups and downs as a coach, wasn't really as great a coach as people thought he would be. Separate what this dude did on the pitch with what they are as a manager. Forget that. Focus only on what is your managerial skill. And I feel that, yes, there are injuries and so forth. But even if there are injuries and so forth, you still have to coach. You still have to have an idea. And even with injuries, Chelsea shouldn't be struggling against Bournemouth. Bournemouth, who are fighting relegation, they shouldn't be struggling against Bournemouth. So, just before we go to the main topic, do you put it on the injuries? Do you think I'm being too harsh on Lampard? Should Lampard be given time? Do you think Lampard is the wrong man for the job? Do you think the loss by Bayern just,
I think I think you need to be patient with Frank Lampard. I think it's a very difficult. Yeah, I think it's a very difficult job that he's come into this season. Transfer ban, trying to put his ideas across young players, injuries. He's had a lot to deal with, and they're still in the top four. But it might be lucky, but they're still in the top four, which would have been the criteria at the beginning of the season, was get in the top four. He's there. So if they finish in the top four, he's done what he's been brought in to do. So the second season, you'd expect improvement. If he doesn't improve from there, then, his head's on the block. But I don't think you can have a go at him. I mean, obviously you could criticize him, but he's doing what he's been brought in to do. Top four, he's there. So let's see how he finishes the season.
Well, I would say he's definitely been immune to certain criticisms compared to other managers. Some of it justified in terms of transfer window, etc., but some of it unjustified because I think the squad that he has is better than some of the rivals. So it kind of, to an extent, levels itself out a bit. And I guess this season we're seeing how it's leveling itself out. But I'm not one for sacking managers. I'm really not.
Why not?
Because I just think it's not. It might be good in the short term, and a lot of the times it is good in the short term, the very short term. And then in the long term, you're like, damn, if we're just giving that guy maybe another season, maybe this, maybe that. The fact that the managerial time span that managers get a lifespan is so short shows that, for me, that maybe sacking the managers so quickly ain't the right decision. Because if you're then sacking the next man after 2 years and the next man after 2 years, maybe if you kept the other man, maybe, not always, but maybe if you kept him, you'll be further ahead 4 years down the line. After 6-7 months, I think it's way too early to be talking about sacking Lampard, especially in the position they're in. Again, whether it's by hook or by crook, I think you just need to give him time. But he walked into a job that he was probably fortunate to get of the size based on his managerial experience. But once you're given that opportunity, you have to stick with him, at least for, I would say, 2 seasons.
2 seasons.
Well, the end of next season for me is where you make the judgment to say whether or not you are the right man. Yeah, you might make it after 18 months. You might be fighting relegation, Christmas next season, and you say, yeah, you're not. But I mean, judge him once he's had more than one season. I can't judge a guy after 7 months and he's sitting in 4th. Like, what are you expecting? I don't know.
All right. Okay. I disagree, but that's the beauty of the world. We have opinions. Some of the opinions are wrong, but they're still opinions, man. El Clasico. So, before this game, and this is where I actually agree with Setien said that he doesn't feel that whatever the results may be, it will determine the La Liga titles, and I believe that is true. So, before we even talk about La Liga mainly, and what this means for the title race, do you think this was a case of we need to give credit to Zidane and especially the Real Madrid players, specifically to their reaction to the Man City game, which we'll obviously get onto afterwards? Or do you think that this was just a really bad Barcelona performance, a really bad Messi performance, and Real Madrid took advantage of a Barcelona team that are struggling, and they only have flipping Brathwaite to look into? And also, you guys need to be honest on Griezmann being a complete and total flop. So for Devil, where do you side with? Let's give credit to Real Madrid and the outstanding performance from Casemiro. Incredible performance by Casemiro. Or do you say, yeah, Madrid were good. They faced a really, really crappy Barcelona side. And if it was a more recognizable Barcelona, it would have been a closer game or Barca would have won.
But what is a recognizable Barca these days? It seems like Barca are just, if Messi turns up, which Messi turns up more times than not. But there is the odd occasion where it's not going for him, like Napoli. It didn't really go for him in that game. Got the job done. They did what they needed to do. They got 3 points. They're back on top of the table. Again, they went, 18, 19 games undefeated. Lost a game against, who is it, Leganes or Levante, sorry. They lost against Levante lost against Man City. Bit of a blip, get back to winning ways. That's what good teams do. And that's what they've done. I think Zidane, if Zidane goes and wins La Liga this season, we got to have a conversation. Because that is a ridiculous amount of trophies that he's bringing home in a short managerial career. It is. You can't deny it. You can't. I didn't get to see the game. I've seen highlights. I've seen bits and bobs. And I know Barca had their chances, which they couldn't put away. Ter Stegen made a ridiculous save from Isco as well. Oh. But he got beat at his near post twice. Twice.
Well, the deflection, though. That's the deflection.
Come on. A top goalkeeper, which he is.
He's the best. He's the best keeper.
It just goes to show that goalkeeper is such a position that anyone could get got at any time. But this was his day, and they lost. And I think La Liga now, I see Real Madrid winning it, not based on this game, but based on the run that they went on before that, and based on the fact that if Messi's not there, Griezmann is not the guy. He is not the guy. He's a support act. You know what I mean? He would never be nominated for best male at the Oscars. It's always best supporting male. It will never be, you know what I mean? That's him. That's his career. And at the moment, he's not being nominated for that either. Do you know what I mean? He's just releasing flop after flop.
No. He has a nomination. He has a Razzie.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
Razzie nomination. He's in the wrong award ceremony.
Nix.
I'll tell you, I was actually watching the game as we were recording our podcast yesterday. It was that important because, as I said it before, I haven't watched La Liga as much as since Ronaldo left. I watch it, but not as much. That's just a fact. But El Clasico is not a game that you can just turn your nose up at. And we'll probably get onto that in a little bit. It was a big game. Bigger for Real Madrid than Barcelona because of the week that they had. Barca got a good away draw at Napoli. Real Madrid, for me, that was their season there and then. If they lost that game to Barcelona, their season was over. Because they're out of the Champions League as far as I'm concerned. They're already out of the Copa del Rey. If they went 5 points behind Barca in the Liga, that's a long way back. I know it's only 5, but it's still long enough. the game it was strange because the first game was pretty even. I think the first half, sorry, pretty even, but the second half, Real Madrid absolutely dominated them. They absolutely like the ball. Barca couldn't really penetrate Real Madrid at all. As they got the ball into Real Madrid's half, it seemed to just keep coming back. See, and I'm looking at it like, damn, this is the Real Madrid that just got absolutely annihilated at home by Kevin De Bruyne's Man City. And now, where you're looking at it thinking, Real Madrid's record at home ain't great. Barca's record in the Bernabeu is better than Real Madrid's. But Real Madrid have literally turned their week and turned the expectation on its head in that second half. And you have to give credit. You have to give credit to the players for getting up for that game. As I said, for me, was their biggest game of the season at that point. And give credit to Zidane because he made changes from that at Real Madrid, from the Man City game. He brought in Cruz, and he had an exceptional game. You mentioned Casemiro. Was it him who made the tackle on Messi? No, was it Messi? Yeah, Messi running 1-on-1.
Yeah.
Was it him and Marcelo both running back?
No, there was one where it was him and Marcelo. And Marcelo made a tackle. There was another one where Messi was coming through. Then he made a tackle on him.
Okay,
on Messi.
Marcelo one that I saw that stuck in my mind because I was like, Messi's gonna score. And I know Messi had the chance in the first half where he should have buried, but Griezmann had the chance in the first half. He should have
big chance.
But yeah, I have to give credit to Real Madrid because I said the first half was even on the back of a bad week, and they just got stronger and stronger as the game went on. And at one point it was like there's only going to be one winner. When Vinicius got the goal, deflection, yes, it was. For me, ter Stegen should have defended his near post anyway because even if there is a deflection, if you're defending your near post, you shouldn't get in that side at all. I know you're a big ter Stegen fan, but you have to call a spade a spade. I'm not saying he was completely at fault for the first goal. He's unlucky, but he should have done better with that, and he was at fault for the second goal. And in terms of in terms of La Liga race, it's tight. It's very tight. But I have to give credit to Zidane. I have to give credit to Real Madrid. What performance?
Okay. So briefly now, like with regards to Messi, do you think it's a case that now this is just the one game though, but is it a case that we may be seeing the beginning of a decline of Messi? He is fatigued, he's been overworked, overplayed, and being tired, or it's only one game he will come back? Because the question has always been, when will the Messi decline begin? Everybody declines because everybody is human. So, because obviously Carlos Suarez is down, no other strikers and so forth, Messi has to play. And my inkling, I may be wrong, I think Messi is playing through an injury because he knows that if I don't play, we're screwed.
Yeah, of course he is.
So, okay. So, what is it? So, do you think this is the beginning of a decline for Messi, or it's just one game? It's hard to judge off one game.
I don't think it's just one game. To be fair, I think, and I know we're not necessarily speaking about him, but they are. It's like they come one and the same. To be honest, when you speak about one, you have to speak about other. Ronaldo and Messi, they've been on top of the world for so long, and the age they're at, it's impossible for them to keep doing what they were doing season after season after season, game after game after game. I think it's just expected, but the problem is that the teams that both Ronaldo and Messi, when they were in their peak, when they were banging 50, 60 goals a season, the players around them were better. So not only were they in their peak, the players around them were in their peak, and everyone was able to lift their level. Messi's no longer in his peak, and that's no shame. Everyone, you can't be at your peak for your whole career, so you drop down a bit. But the players around him, even though he's dropped down a bit, can't even lift himself to that level. Look at the team Barca's put out. It's poor. Like, when you actually look at that team and you compare to their team even 5 years ago, it's a shadow. You got some of those players who have been there for 10 years and they look no better than they did at their worst. The likes of Piqué, he ain't getting no better. But who's going to replace him? Who's going to replace him? I'm not saying Busquets is terrible, but there comes a point where you got to bring someone else through. I know they've made certain signings, Frankie de Jong, Arta. But what about the academy? Your academy that you brought through the likes of Iniesta, Xavi, Messi, Fabregas, Thiago. You get one if you're lucky these days in Fati, and everyone else is imports, and it's just not Barca anymore. It's not. So I feel sorry for Messi to an extent, because as he declines, you hope that others can lift the mantle. But it's like the reality is, as he declines, more and more responsibility is getting put on his shoulder.
And you know the thing is about Messi and Ronaldo as well is that Messi, his playing style and everything like that, he's never changed. He's always been the same. He's never had to adapt. And now that he's getting older, I mean, maybe he's adapted and maybe moved back in and he's become a little bit more creative, but it's still the same way he plays. Whereas when you look at Ronaldo made a conscious decision that if I want to keep playing until I'm 36, I need to change the way. And he made himself a machine. And do you know what I mean? He may not be where he was at his peak at Real Madrid, but he's still at Juventus banging goals. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's one argument Ronaldo fans could have over Messi fans, is that he's gone and he's adapted and he said, right, Man United, I'm a winger. Best player in the world, Ballon d'Or winner as a winger. Go to Real Madrid. They need me as a centre forward. Best centre forward in the world. Do you know what I mean? I've won everything at Real Madrid. Go to Juventus. Banging goals at Juventus. Let me win titles there. He's always adapted everywhere he's gone. Everywhere he's needed to be, he's adapted. Messi hasn't had that. This is a chance now for Messi to show that he can adapt to a little bit of turmoil, I suppose. And I don't think he's going to be able to get through it by just being the same old Messi, because as you said, the players around him are a lot worse. So unless Barcelona can find the Xavi, Iniesta, or somehow patch up Suarez or bring back a Neymar or something to give him someone to play, because Griezmann ain't that guy, we've seen that. Unless they could find someone to do that, I think Messi might decline. I'm not saying he's going to, but I think he might.
But one thing just to respond to you, Dev, is like, I've always said that, Cristiano has way better adaptability than Messi. And I think his greatest strength is that Cristiano is able to be like, okay, Portugal need me as a striker. All right, Real Madrid need me as this inside forward. Okay, Juve just need me as a goal scorer. So he's able to, and that is why he's able to perform for Portugal and perform for club-wise, because he knows he's happy to be able to be what he needs to be. But what I will say, though, in the whole Messi adaptability thing, is that he did adapt. 08-09 season, he was just in a three. It was him, Henry, and Etso, and he was just part of that three. And he left all that midfield work for Xavi, Iniesta, and so forth. 2011 and so forth. Him, David Villa, and Pedro were now in a three. Only when he now saw Xavi leave, Iniesta getting older, Messi began to come deeper and deeper and deeper, and he became more of a playmaker, much more of a creator. When he was there with Rijkaard and Pep, all the creating was left to Xavi and Iniesta. He would copy that, but really the creating was left to Xavi and Iniesta. So he did have to say, bro, for us to keep on being effective, I've got to go back deeper and receive the ball from the halfway line and actually now try and play, make, and create for others.
The thing is, what might be to his detriment is that he has adapted, or he's changed his role slightly, but he's actually doing more. And when you get older, you're supposed to do less. You know, he's actually doing more because there's no Xavi and Iniesta. Ronaldo said, I'm getting older. I'm going to be the striker. Dybala helped me. Benzema helped me. Bernardo Silva in Portugal, you helped me. Let me, get the best out of my new attribute. Messi is dropping deeper to create, but he still has to be their top goal scorer. He has to take, there's more weight on his shoulders. And something like that is going to cause him, and I guess most people probably expected it anyway, but it will cause his career to finish earlier in terms of age than Ronaldo, because you're doing more work at a time when you should be doing less.
Okay, so actually one more question on this, and then we'll get to the other ones. So Sanat Miggy, thank you for the super chat. HH could hold some serious corn after tomorrow. Is this an English colloquialism? What does holding corn mean?
Shots fired.
So take some shots.
Yeah.
You'll have some heat on you.
Is this because of Chelsea against Liverpool?
Yeah.
Bro, look, if Lampard wants to get back in my good graces, now do you know how sweet that would be? If Chelsea were to knock out Liverpool and stop a potential treble, now that It wouldn't make up for what happened against Bayern, but it would at least slowly win me back. Now, last thing on this, El Clasico. Do you guys feel that the El Clasico still holds the same allure since Cristiano left? Or do you think that El Clasico was only at its height and its peak during the Cristiano Messi era, even before we had the whole Figo going over to Real Madrid with a pig's head being thrown over, the whole Ronaldinho being given a standing ovation by the Madrid away fans? Is El Clasico still El Clasico based on the political underpinnings of the fixture, i.e. Spain against Catalonia, especially which has intensified in the last year or so, that despite what our players play, this fixture will always be extra meaningful because of the political backdrop it is played against? Or do you think that we will never be able to see the kind of numbers or the kind of eyeballs on it during the Cristiano Messi era? Let me start with Devil.
You know, for me, I preferred El Clasico before Ronaldo and Messi. Do you know what I mean? For me, the El Clasico's there was the games were better. I think when it became Ronaldo and Messi, from a media standpoint, it became about Ronaldo versus Messi. It wasn't so much Barcelona versus Real Madrid. I think it kind of took away from the game because everyone was just looking at these two players. Now that Ronaldo's not there, the star power's gone. So it's kind of like people are looking at Messi and it's Messi versus who? They're looking for someone to replace Ronaldo. And that's just from a media standpoint. I'm not talking about from the actual action on the pitch. But I do feel that when you think of some of the El Clasicos, like the one Ronaldinho when he banged the hat-trick, you know, the Figo, the pig's head, and all that kind of stuff.
Like the Rivaldo Kluivert era,
yeah,
Raul.
You know, those games there, Raul was just different quality. But those games there, for me, were proper games of football, El Clasico classics. I don't think there's been a classic, not that I can remember, for a few years now. I don't think it's got that same kind of quality to it. The passion's there, but I don't think the quality is there. But I think that's just because, as you were saying, Barcelona have got worse. They've gone backwards. Real Madrid over the last few years have struggled domestically. They've been great in Europe, but domestically they struggled. So I think that has a bit of something to do with it. But I wouldn't necessarily say that because Ronaldo is not there, that's why El Clasico is any worse. Because I think it was in decline even when Ronaldo was there, personally.
Okay, next.
I think I agree with a lot of what Devil said. Dugout. We mentioned briefly comparing Liverpool, Man United versus Real Madrid, Barcelona, and where our Clasico has, I guess, staked his claim as, you know, one of the leading, if not the leading, rivalry in world football, is the global aspect to it. When you lose a figurehead like Ronaldo, just in terms of his global reach, it's impossible for it not to have a negative impact, because Ronaldo would bring his own fans because of who he is, because of how many, you know, followers he has personally. So when he does leave, a lot of those followers will now go watch Juventus because they're Ronaldo fans. And I think we're in an era in football, you know, football fandom, you might say, where fans support players ahead of or alongside clubs, where the players' performance or the players' actions are more important than the results of the club. You get Martial FC, you get that there's a channel on YouTube, I think it's Have Hope Football Hut, where it's like it might be Guard Football Hut if you're gonna do it. And you got other where you just literally Pogba, where you're just focusing on that specific player. And I think because we're in that era where it's about players much more than it was in any previous era, the excitement around El Clasico without Ronaldo is going to decline. In terms of the quality, I mean, we can look at the players on the pitch and we can see for just a fact that the quality of the players there are just not as good. They're not as good as they were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, or even 20 years ago. When we had, as you said, Figo, Rivaldo, Kluivert at Barca. We had Morientes, Raul at Real Madrid, Guti Like
Gucci.
before Zidane and Ronaldo, we had R9 playing for both sides. Like, there's certain things about a Clasico that we don't really get anymore because I think it's just the era that we're in where football, some of them are global, that those world-class players that all used to be at Real Madrid or Barcelona, now they're a bit more spread out. Look at Man City. Man, there was no Man City 20 years ago. There was no PSG 20 years ago. But look at they're acquiring the likes of Neymar from Barcelona. That you could never imagine when Lyon were kings of France that they could acquire Real Madrid's or Barcelona's second best or third best player. That would never be the case. So, I mean, the football landscape has changed. What El Clasico needs, if it's going to reach back to those heights, is a figurehead, a talisman. Messi is there. Real Madrid need it. Someone mentioned Hazard was supposed to replace Messi. Well, he needs to do it on the stage. He needs to show it on the stage that he can. Oh, sorry, replace Ronaldo.
He's injured. Relax. He's injured.
For me, Mbappe, Neymar, because of their popularity in world football right now, I know, of course, their quality on the pitch. Those are the types of players for me that's going to bring the worldwide attention back to the same levels as El Clasico if they were to join Real Madrid and or Barcelona.
All right. So let's talk about this. Now, this is something that I read about, but obviously I think you guys probably know a bit more because I saw you guys talking about it in the chats group. Bundesliga. So I don't know what this sign actually said. So let me just tell you what I know, and then obviously you guys can fill in the blanks. So Bayern were playing Hoffenheim, and there was a banner that was pulled out that was pretty offensive. Then they were asked to take down the banner. They took it down. Then they then put up the banner up again. And for some reason, in protest, the players were just passing around the ball amongst themselves. So if you could just give us some context with this, Devils, like, so what was on this message? And what exactly happened? If you just expand a bit, what the hell is going on?
So it was a banner against a investor of Hoffenheim. In Germany, there's a rule where one person can only own 49% of the club.
Oh, yeah, 50 plus one or something.
Yeah, the fans must own 51% of the club. So you can't have a majority shareholder. Several clubs have challenged that. Wolfsburg don't do that. I think, is it Leverkusen or someone like that also don't do that. I think Leipzig do.
Okay.
I think Leipzig do. I think there's only 3 clubs, and Hoffenheim is one of them.
Okay.
And Hoffenheim were the original Leipzig. So Hoffenheim, I forgot his name. I think it's Hopp or something like that. He bought major shares in Hoffenheim when they were in the 5th division, and they came up through the divisions very quickly. I don't know why these protests are taking place now, because he's been a major shareholder in Hoffenheim for a long time. That's it, Dietmar Hopp. He's been there for a long, long time. So the banner was about him, and it's saying that he's a son of a whore or something like this. Yeah, and he was there. He was in the stadium, and Rummenigge was there, and you know, there's a show of solidarity. So that's why the players were just passing the ball around.
Sorry, Rummenigge? Rummenigge.
So
don't say the rest.
So it's a show of solidarity between the players and the 2 clubs for Dietmar Hopp against the fans. But another banner was unfurled in the Union Berlin game. They were 1-0 up at home against Wolfsburg, and their fans unfurled a banner against Dietmar Hopp as well. The players pleaded with the fans to take it down. They did it again. The game was held up for 10 minutes. Eventually, the ultras and the players negotiated, and they brought the banner down, and the game was able to go ahead, and they ended up drawing 2-2. So it actually went against their own team. I don't understand why this is happening now, but my main takeaway from this is that Germany obviously have a zero tolerance thing for this, because as soon as that banner was out, they took the players off the pitch. That's how easy it is. That's how easy it is. As soon as the banner come out, everyone came off the pitch. So if you could do that about a banner about owner, why can't people do that for racism? Why is it such a big thing? If there's racist chanting, why can't people just come off the pitch? Why is it a big deal? Only one man tries to come off the pitch and you stop him. But a banner about a billionaire sat in the stands, you want to stop everything.
Because no one cares really about racism.
Yeah.
Really. And also obviously the money thing. So yeah, Knicks.
No, yeah, you're right, man. Literally, no. And I say it all the time. People say, "Oh, why ain't this? Why ain't that?" And, I'm not taking away from the high pressure question you put out. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about racism. They have to act like they care because the era we live in, you might lose a job. You might get a little slap on the wrist. You don't want to be seen as the bad guy in this cancel culture. So you have to toe a certain line. But in the reality, nobody really cares. Because what they've shown, when they do care, they can take action. They can make the fans do X, Y, Z. They can stand up and support a guy who's earning enough to keep him happy, regardless of what people are chanting. I mean, he hasn't sold a club because people put out a banner for him. I don't know, has he lost any sleep? Maybe he has. I don't know. But obviously, the feelings of one man is more important than the feelings of a whole race of people. And yeah, when I look at that, no, I don't agree that those banners should be allowed in the what's it called, in the argument of freedom of speech. No, there's a limit. You can't be that personal, abusive to somebody because of something they have done legally. By the way, he hasn't illegally bought the club and done X, Y, Z.
Yeah, it's a moral thing.
But it's got to go against your morals, yes. So I don't agree with the personal attacks. But yeah, when I look at it, I'm just like, okay, so now I know. Now we can see you're exposing yourself even more so about where your priorities lie. So when the next racism case comes up, let's see what happens, innit? Let's see what happens.
No, but because I've always said that, and see, this is just sort of like proving it. But this wasn't a light bulb moment for me because I've always said that. Look, if Infantino or Cheferin, specifically Cheferin, if you really cared about racism, of course you would be able to make changes and be able to invoke actions. But and it's almost as if they are treating black people like they're idiots. All right, racism thing. Say no to racism. Let's put out a few ads, a few hashtags, a few campaigns. Look, give it 2 weeks. They'll forget about it. 2 weeks, and then let's just boom, recycle, repeat. Like they literally have a thing of recycle, repeat. That is the epitome of we don't give a damn. But because the world is watching, let's just act like we do give a damn. When in actuality, we do not. But in this situation, my God, it's like, okay, they put out a banner, but you're going to take literally guys off, stop playing for one dude. One dude.
Yeah.
That's deep. That's deep. But
since then, I haven't heard anyone say, oh, why didn't they just play through it? Why don't they stand up and, show them that they don't, it doesn't affect them?
No, they have to stop the game. Let's stop the game. Yeah. All right. So look, Champions League. So let me just do this, and I think this was quite a fun thing that I did on the Hangouts and stuff. So we've seen the first leg of the last 16. It's not happening. We're now looking forward to the second leg. So of the 8 games that were played, so I'll give you time. I'll give you guys time to think. So those dudes, that dude, bricks, and the brick, and go easy on the bricks and the whole brick thing. So yeah, so of all the 16 teams, that dude, those dudes, bricks and bricks. So let me remember what I did. So for that dude, I said Alphonso Davies. An absolutely amazing performance, both first half, the defensive quality, second half offensive quality was amazing. Those dudes got to give it to Atalanta. First time ever inside the next stage of the Champions League, and to win so emphatically against a club who are seasoned veterans in this competition, I think is great. Bricks, I have to give it to Chelsea. To lose 3-0 at home, I just think it's simply and completely embarrassing. And for brick, I'm going to give it to Lampard. I could give it to Barkley, but I'm going to give it to Lampard. Based on the fact that Barkley didn't force himself to be chosen, and the lack of, first of all, the wrong lineup being chosen, and the lack of a reaction when he went down 1-0, when he went down 2-0, I think for me is simply unacceptable. So those are my thoughts there. All right.
So is this just from the week gone or from both weeks of Champions League?
From all 8 games. All 8 games. So
for that dude, I have to give it to De Bruyne. To go to Bernabeu. To go to the Bernabeu and putting a man of the match performance, playing in a false 9 position, going 1-0 down, I have to give it to them. And you make that faith. But if Hazard had done what De Bruyne done in that game, even if he was at home, as in Hazard was playing at the Bernabeu, you would give Hazard that dude.
All De Bruyne did was just play like a little cross to Jesus, but Jesus had to literally break his neck and create a new neck bone to get onto that header. And he scored from 12 yards. What the heck? I do it for that. The heck? You see what? Even if I think the dude is overrated, you see what Haaland did? Those 2 Gs.
Alphonso Davies was playing against a terrible Chelsea side. So wow. I'm not taking away because the man is quality, like arguably the best left back in the world at the moment. So I'm not taking that away from him. But look at the quality that he was up against, and Chelsea are trash. Let's get that straight. Compared to the quality that De Bruyne was up against, and yes, I know Man City are better, but to go to the Bernabeu and put in that performance when Man City have been criticised this season, Pep Guardiola have been criticised this season, and I mean, people like you would have been looking at De Bruyne like, yeah, come on, let's see what you can do, because there's certain guys out there who are saying he's better than that person, and he did it. He did it. So I have to give it to De Bruyne. I have to. All
right, those dudes.
Those dudes. You said Atalanta, and I'm not gonna. Yeah, I think I probably agree with that. I like a good fairy tale story. I'm actually surprised, to be honest, that you went for them, because you're a capitalist. You don't like the underdog. you just want the big boy. Yeah, man.
Bro, my middle name is David. What the hell? You just called me a capitalist? What the heck?
You don't want the little guy. Look at this person about the World Cup and the Euros. You're like,
I've never in my entire life, I've never on my 15 years on Earth, I've never in all 15 years on Earth been called a capitalist by anybody. That is shocking.
That's it.
All right, bricks and brickman.
Wait, was it bricks and what?
Bricks and brick.
Then a singular brick.
Oh, okay. Bricks, yeah, it has to be Chelsea. Like you're at home and you got slapped 3-0. And the worst part about all of it is because you cuss Arsenal for getting slapped 5-1.
Yeah, we had a man sent off. We were winning until then.
You got slapped 5-1 3 times, Devo. I'm not having that.
Yeah, and we had a man sent off in every game.
Spurs were getting slapped 7-2, and rightly so. Don't get me wrong, but you can't do all of that and then get slapped by a Bayern team who aren't even peak Bayern compared to the ones that were doing the damage.
But they're good though. They are good though.
Yeah, they are. But then there's no Robben, there's no Ribery, there's no Toni Kroos. Like, I'm not saying they ain't good, but the tie is over. The tie is over. And Semi's minimum # in the bin.
Yep.
Oh, and Brick. I have to give it to you. You round of 16.
You took a lot of L's last week.
You can't make me a brick. You can't make
I like it, innit? I wouldn't be on here if I didn't. But certain times we just have to.
I question that whether you do based on the slight comments you pull through. So I don't think I trust that comment you made there. So,
but
no.
You gotta hold certain L's when.
Yeah, but there's a line though. There's a line. You can start making memes about me and bring up receipts. Devil.
So those dudes, it's got to be Atalanta. Shout out Leon as well, though, because Leon got a very. No one saw them winning that game, but I think Atalanta smashed Valencia to bits. They clearly through to the next round, unless something absolutely drastic happens.
Bro, Devil.
Yeah, it's happened
right
before.
Now. That second leg, it's gonna go for me. You know what I believe? I believe it's gonna be 4-1. It'll go to extra time.
Really?
Yeah.
Put money on that.
I might. If I don't like to gamble, I might.
Valencia are terrible. They're terrible at the moment.
Oh, they're very good at home, though. They are very good at home.
Terrible football team. That dude, Pep Guardiola. I'm going to give it to Pep. Pep went to the Bernabeu and changed things up, stifled Madrid, came home with a 2-1 win. Not many people fancy them to win that. I have to shout out Terry, though, because Terry did say that they were going to win 2-1 before the game started. He got it right, so got to shout him out. But I'm going to give it to Pep. Bricks. It's got to be Chelsea. It's got to be Chelsea. I didn't want to give it to Chelsea because I've been on the receiving end. I know what Bayern Munich can do. You know what I mean? So I didn't want to give it. You know what? I'm not going to give it to Chelsea. I'm going to give it to Liverpool just because. Just because I'm on Liverpool's next right now, innit? So I'm going to give it to Liverpool.
Thank you.
And as for Brick, Klopp. You know what I mean? Just let them have all the bricks. Let them have all the bricks.
By the way, guys, Liverpool fans. Wait. Any Liverpool fans of this? Devil's Twitter is in the description box right there. So if you're looking to spam him or troll him, Liverpool fans, his Twitter is in the description box below.
Come
in
see
the description box below, Devil's Twitter. Please click it.
Look forward to it.
I don't know Devil, because Liverpool ain't taken enough L's this season, so we just when you can, innit?
But they brought it onto themselves, man. They brought it onto themselves. Not all, but
this is how football works. You have to take your shots when you can get them, because you might not be able to take no more shots after this. So I'm taking all of them now.
All right. So guys, last 5 minutes, we'll take in some questions. So send in some questions. Last 5 minutes before we get out of here, we will go through. Send in questions, and hit the like. Yeah, what up?
What question? Devil.
I knew you were going to come with a script on this. I thought I got away with it.
Talking about L.
Yeah.
Olympiacos.
Oh!
Olympia.
No, you can't. Explain that.
I can't explain it. I cannot explain it. You know what I will say?
Okay, who's to blame?
One of the best finishes, just for your defense to basically write his P45. He basically said, Aubameyang, yes, please leave in the summer. Mustafi, sorry.
He can't stay.
No. Mustafi was one of our better players.
He was off injured.
Before he got injured, yeah. He was one of our better players.
Who's the other centre-back?
Socrates came on, and Socrates ain't even got no excuse because he was fresh.
He basically pushed Aubameyang out the door. Olympiacos!
Yeah. You know what? We do not have good records again. When that draw was made, I was slightly worried because we don't have the greatest of records against Olympiacos. We used to beat them all the time.
That was back in 2001 when they were relevant and Panathinaikos.
But to be fair, I don't know how we managed to lose that game. I think a massive part is Arteta's subs aren't on point. I like Arteta, but his substitutes he's getting them wrong. Lacazette should have never ever played 105 minutes. It was clear.
But it was too much.
Clear at half time.
Well, what happened to Martinelli?
Martinelli, he sat on the bench.
Came on
when Martinelli came on after 105 minutes, in that 15 minutes, he did a lot more than Lacazette. He set up the goal for Aubameyang by being a presence in the box, which is something Lacazette didn't do. Lacazette tried to head the ball in when the ball was at his shin. I don't know what he was doing, but for me, his reluctance to take off Lacazette cost us that game. It cost us that game because he missed any chances that we made. Every time we got the ball forward, the move broke down with him, and it just put pressure on our defense. And Luiz had a stinker. We all know that. When Mustafi went off, funny enough, we looked absolutely terrible at the back. Mustafi has been good the last few weeks. I don't know what's going on. It's like he plays well, and then he has one particular incident where it's just like, no, yeah, there he is. That's Mustafi. I don't know who this other guy is. That's Mustafi. But you know what? These things is what's going to make or break Arteta. How we react to these kind of losses, because he's not going to be used to that. Being at Man City, you don't have embarrassing things like that. That's not happened to him. So now we see how he reacts. And I want him to take a hard stance on some of these players and realize they're not good enough. Come summer, get rid of them. Don't do what Wenger was doing towards the end, where Wenger was just keeping players because he felt like he had some sort of rapport. Yeah, Arteta has to be ruthless. Get rid of them. So let's see what happens.
Quickly have one word for Lacazette. I've dropped the name. I've dropped it. Please call it Lacazette. Not Lacazette.
Yeah.
Lacazette.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. So let's just. So favorites for the Champions League. Liverpool were always my favorites, and I'm not going to change. I'm going to stick with them because I feel that second leg they'll get the job done. So I'm still going to go with Liverpool. You know what? Don't sleep on Man City. I just feel, especially with what has happened and that performance against Madrid, I think don't sleep on Man City. So I think for me, Man City and Liverpool. But I think, City and Liverpool right now.
I went Juventus at the start of the season, and I'm only sticking with them because I picked them at the start of the season. I have no faith in them actually winning it, but they're still in the competition, so I have to stick with them. But yeah, Man City are a threat. But what I would say quickly is that Liverpool losing the unbeaten run, for me, could be a blessing in disguise, because you might now see Klopp resting players in the Premier League because there's nothing to play for. The Premier League is done. And you're going to put out stronger teams, maybe, in the FA Cup, and they'll be fully rested for the Champions League. So they could be more like to get a treble now than they were when they were unbeaten in the Premier League.
Yeah.
God forbid.
Yeah, but I think Man City. I think it's just written. I think with what's happening and them being banned from the competition, I just think the story is written for them to get their first Champions League and then not be able to defend it. I think it's written.
Oh no, yeah, it's we're making so much sense.
So.
The Invincibles turned invisible in the CL. How good were they really?
We did this. Watch the beginning of the show, man. I'm not gonna go through that again. Kind of stupidness is that? Come on.
Cambridge away goal at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah.
Sorry, Devil. What do you think of
Saliba? I like Saliba. I like him. I watched a little bit of the Lyon game that they played. They lost 2-0. But the defense around him was shoddy as hell. But he looks very composed. He's still very young. He looks a good defender. Hopefully, if he comes in next year, we can have a better partner for him. We go out and buy another centre-back, because I don't want to see him next to Luiz. I don't think Socrates is that great. Never really have. I think I like his personality more than I like his skill set, because he'll put his head in where it hurts, but he's not that great a defender. I think we need someone else next to Saliba.
Pablo?
So why is Mason Mount hated? He has the same goals and assists as Maddison, but he is overrated. My thing with Mason Mount is I don't hate Mason Mount. I just don't think that he's ready for this level yet. I think that him being thrust into these games, I think that's why I made Lampard a break. Mount wasn't ready for that Bayern Munich game. That was way too much of a high level of a game for him to play in. Whether Willian can be frustrating or not, he should have had a Willian ahead of Mount. Or you see what happened to Mount in the first halftime, change it up. But I think that Lampard isn't doing Mount any favors. Mount, this kid, he is talented. He's just not ready. And I just think that he needs to be eased in rather than thrown in. Any thoughts on Mount?
I like him, but I think your analysis of him is correct. I think it's too soon. I don't think Lampard would have wanted to play him week in, week out, but injuries have kind of forced his hand. But I see a good player there, and I think he will become a very good player for Chelsea. But in an ideal world, he would have probably played 5 to 10 games less. I mean, he would have come off the bench or anything like that. But Pulisic is out. Pedro's been out. Willian's been out here and there. You're missing players. Mount's had to play. But I think the Champions League game, I said beforehand, when he played that team against Tottenham and it was successful, I thought that's what he's going to do against Bayern, because he's going to try to use Mount and Barkley to pressure Bayern Munich players running the ball. But his Bayern players are too good. You press them, they'll pop it around you, and then they're clear. Mount and Barkley aren't up to that task. They're not the same caliber. Do you know what I mean?
All right, so let's do this to round this off there. So, shout out to Mr. J Spores, always a regular on this show. What should Tottenham do to improve? Now,
dissolve the club.
Easy.
Dissolve the club.
Devil, come on, be objective. Okay, before I come to Devil and Nix and Devil, please be fair. Please be fair. Then you can rip them afterwards. I will be doing a tactical analysis breakdown of this, because in loving of my boy Uncle Moon, because I think Uncle Moon needs some HH help and some loving. But to put it very simply, and obviously give Nix and Devil a round of this, identity. There isn't a clear game plan as to what they do in the final third. Because I'm liking the look of Lo Celso. I'm liking the look of that guy. But with Lo Celso, Dele Alli, Lucas Moura, Bergwijn, you can create an identity within those four. What I see happening is they're winging it. There isn't a clear plan as to, all right, this is what we're now doing in the final third. It's like, Okay, Moura's just going to just dribble. Dele Alli, oh, he's at the wing. He's back in there. Lolo Chelsea is looking for a pass, can't find a pass. Bergwijn is, okay, am I striker? Am I left? It just seems like forced strain. It looks like if these guys just turned up on the all-weather pitch for a kick around and they're just playing. It doesn't feel like what did you actually do on the training ground? Did he actually do any 5-on-5s? So has there actually been anything cultivated? So I think if they do that, there is enough talent within those individuals for you to pick up some points against the other teams and actually make the top 4 race interesting. What do you guys think?
You know what? I think without a striker, I think they're going to struggle, and that's been Spurs' issue for years, that they've relied too heavily on Harry Kane for the goals. And when Harry Kane doesn't turn up or he's not there, they then struggle. Now, obviously, they had Son, who was able to fill in at times. But for me, I think they just need to. They've got a lot of players there who have, I think, just passed their time. Alderweireld. We know Danny Rose is gone. Ben Davis. I mean, Aurier, he never really had a time. Vertonghen. You know, I'm not saying that these guys can't play football anymore, but they need to be phased out. And they need to start. They got a few younger players coming through. Some of them I don't think are too good. The likes of Dyer is not good. Winks, I don't think he's that great. He's all right. But I think they just need to start to phase out some of the older players and get some young talent in. Bergwijn, he's very good. I like him. Lo Celso is looking good. But players like Lamela, like you can see what they can and can't do. There's a time to say, you know what? We spent 30 million on him. We thought we were going to get like a top quality player. He's been alright. And that's it. Move him on. But they just stick him by, through financial issues, Levy, whatever it is, they just stick him with these players and they need to be moved on.
I think Spurs need an overhaul. I think Levy is a problem for that football club. When you look at what they've achieved since Levy's been there, 1 League Cup is not enough for a club with the ambitions which they tell the world that they have. And you're coming back with one League Cup. You've had money because you sold the likes of Gareth Bale for world record fee. You've hardly spent any money in that time. So all this money that you're making, where's it going? You're not spending money on transfers. Your youth academy isn't bringing through any players of real quality. So there's an issue there, which is a lot bigger than just the playing side of things. Something isn't right behind the scenes, because you'd think if you're making money from the Gareth Bale sale and all these kind of league positions and Champions League rounds and stuff, you'd think that you'd have the youth academy at least in place to bring players through to replace, these players that aren't doing it. Vertonghen, he's not the same player he was. Alderweireld, Dele Alli is an issue. For me, I would sell Dele Alli. I'd make profit on that guy because he's not doing it. When Dele Alli's not scoring goals, he doesn't do anything. I've spoken to many Spurs fans. A good friend of mine, Sava, Spurs fan, he will tell you if Dele Alli's not scoring goals, he's not doing anything. He's just taking up space on the pitch. I think Lo Celso is a good player. I think you want to build around players like that. But the striker issue is something that I think is a massive issue for Spurs. And the fact that a lot of Spurs fans sing Troy Parrott, they think he's a very good player. The fact that he's not even got any minutes when they haven't got a striker is worrying for me. It's worrying because you're in clear need of a striker and you're trying to force players to play in this position, which is not working. How long until he turns and says, you know what, I haven't trusted you for all these months, but now I need you. What does that say to the player?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He's the only fit striker in the club and you don't want to turn to him. What's that say to him? You'd probably ruin this kid. So when he does get his chance, if he don't score, what are you going to do? Sub him.
Smashed. So let's just last super chat, then we'll get out of here. Gatlock, he says, thank you for the super chat. There's no final third in Mourinho's plans. Gatlock.
Because he's finished.
That's harsh. Guys, that's all for us.
Wait, there's a question from, who's that? Neek Sports. Says, on what date will Man United sign Jadon Sancho? Oh, interesting. I'll leave you to ponder that. I'll leave you to ponder that, HH. I would leave.
Did you just
I
type
don't
in
know
that
what
question?
you're talking about. I've been here. Listen, I don't know what you're talking about. That's what the people are asking. The people are asking. What about
Jadon Sancho will go to Man United. We had this discussion a couple of weeks ago.
As I was saying, this has been the football dugout. If you want to follow Nix, or you want to follow Devil, follow them on their Twitter accounts, which are in the description box below, and also join up and support and pledge to our Patreon, which is also in the link below. We will be posting content there very soon within the next few weeks and so. So any final words for you guys, Nix and Devil, before we get out of here?
No, I'm good. I've said everything I need to say. There's all peace and love for everyone. And
give me some blessings. Get over my coronavirus and my sickness of West Indies, who just make me sick and sick as the day goes by.
Actually, one last thing, because apparently if coronavirus gets real bad in this country, they're going to cancel the league and Liverpool won't win. So if you know anyone with coronavirus, let them cough in your face. Let's spread this thing. Let's spread this thing like wildfire. And let's hope that the virus takes care of the rest.
Okay. All right, guys. Peace out. Stay true and stay safe. Peace.